folks. I'm Elizabeth Cookie of Goddesses Media. I am your host and your presenter for Mythological Moments, and this is the Strike First Gaming Show. To the left of me is cosplayer extraordinaire Kitty Kaboom. To the far end of the couch, we have the CEO of Strike First himself, Cobra Kai Tone. And then to the left of him is Dr. B, Galaxy B. And then today we have a special presenter. This is Marcus Charles, aka Infernal Spyro, who is a commentator and also an esports athlete in the world of the Tekken series. We can't wait to hear what you got to say. And welcome to watching our presentation. So before we begin, as usual, I want to start with my news segment. And so it seems like just recently we have the Street Fighter V Winter Update. This update included the release of Dan, the reveal of Rose from the Street Fighter Zero series, Alpha in America, and then also a new gameplay mechanic known as V-Shift. So before I start my own concepts of what I think about the gameplay, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this new winter update regarding Street Fighter V?
I'll hop in here as a veteran Street Fighter and Evo advocate myself. I'm semi-excited about Rose being in the game. Rose is Okay. Rose is a good character from the Alpha series and an integral part of the story. So I really do like Rose, but I'm not a huge fan of Street Fighter V. I think Street Fighter V is kind of cookie cutter in the new era of fighting games. But for what it's worth and having some new characters brought in from the canon of the story that tie everything together, and of course for the mythological moments of the game, I would say that it's really good that Rose is back.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you want to school with me, it's just like, here we go. Just like, oh my God, Rose, yeah, Rose. I'm happy, you're happy, we're all happy. I know Manat's super happy. So, you know, we get our Lisa Rose back, and I am so thrilled that she's back. She's going to go, you know, tie into the story very well. I'm really happy with what I've seen so far, and I'm actually impressed at the winter update, because we've known in the past the updates haven't been that great. You know, a lot of people are always disappointed every season of Street Fighter V so far, but they actually did a great job in the winter update, and Shuhei and everybody else at Capcom, very awesome job with this update. I'm really happy with the work that you guys are doing right now and how you're deciding to do these changes and updates. The community couldn't be happier. So good on you guys. Good on you. And that Dan costume, oh my God. I'm waiting for the Dan plush already. I was like this close. I'm like, should I make a female Dan and make that goofy ass like mascot costume? I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. But we'll take care of Rose first. Don't worry.
Two things I actually wanted to chime in on that I really liked about the winter update in the trailer. Of course, that V-Shift mechanic is excellent, and it brings back a new defensive mechanic for aggressive players. So it gives you the comeback mechanic, which is awesome.
Yes.
But I think what stood out most for me is Japan did something that I didn't expect, and they showed the behind-the-scenes moments of the motion capture.
Yes.
They showed the woman that they chose to play Rose and how she's a professional martial artist, and you know, she was standing a certain way and she was really in character, and I said, this is awesome. I said, this is something that's not always touched about, the behind the scenes and the creation process of the game. And I looked at other people's reactions to the trailer, and most people just kind of skipped over it like it was unimportant. And I want to take this moment to say thank you, Capcom, for highlighting that.
Yes.
Because if it's not for the motion capture artists, a lot of these games would not exist. They have a place in the creation process of your video games, and I hope you continue to show more of that artistry. They deserve their respect too.
Yes.
And then last but not least, if anyone noticed, also recently, the Dan trailer that dropped, you see a glimpse of what Dan's father looks like as he's being gripped by the throat of Sagat. People overlooked that. I noticed that recently. You know, Dan jumps into the trailer and says, "Father," and you see him being held by Sagat. So I want to make sure I put that out there. That was a little Easter egg. So we finally, for the first time in 30 years, get to see what Dan's mysterious, father looked like. He's always talked about, but they never show him.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Well, for me, I am excited about this season. I want to see how well this V-Shift mechanics actually works in game, because we need something to counter those people with the rundown frame traps and be able to parry those. I want to see how effective it is. I'm interested. I haven't played Street Fighter V maybe in a few months, and everybody's been waiting for this season to come out so we can all touch the sticks again and get some new mechanics. Everybody was kind of leaving it alone because of the netcode, and they just wanted to see what the next season was going to be. So, yeah, I'm actually interested in this season. I haven't been interested maybe since, season 4? Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next. So also what's also new in the FGC is the release of a new Tekken 7 character for the latest update. And they showed us a tease of their trailer of a Polish woman, and I'm not sure if that was Poland or Germany, but I'm going to assume it was Poland because the trailer was
It was Poland.
It was
Okay, because the landscape, all I saw was gingerbread houses. It looked like, the storybook houses and everything.
Yeah.
And then she gets out of this limo with a cell phone. I was like, ooh, she looked great. I was like, ooh, who is she? So. On that note, I want to know what you think about this new female character. What is she going to present to the world of Tekken?
I think in terms of the whole community, the Poland community, they've supported Tekken for quite a while. So a lot of them have, told Harada and some of the Namco team, they, gave their thanks and stuff, and how, a lot of the stuff doesn't go unwarranted in terms of what they plan to do with Tekkens, in the future. And I think, we don't know exactly too much about her. There was some data that was shown about the actual DLC, how she rose up the ranks really quickly. So it's kind of hard to pin down whether or not if she's a young woman or if she's an older woman. I think we don't have too many older women in fighting games, and I think it's nice to see if that ends up being the case, that, we get more representation on that end. Also, I think in terms of the actual, it's not that bad for a teaser, but I feel like a lot of the Tekken community, probably roughly 80-90% have voiced concerns about the actual teaser itself, how it's, a lot of people were waiting quite a bit, most of the time, the first hour of the Japanese roundtable, most of it is, kind of talking about various things and everything like that for the first hour. And then the second hour, they kind of do the reveals for, the trailers of various companies and everything like that. And on Namco's end, it didn't seem like they didn't really bring too much to the table, so a lot of people were disappointed on that front. On the other side of the coin, a lot of people are excited, they want to see how, she plays and, the kind of fighting style that she brings to the table.
Awesome. Have you guys happened to see the trailer yet?
Not yet.
Okay, then after this, y'all gonna have to go see that trailer. It was fire.
Mm-hmm.
She was wearing this suit. It had these
She had
lapels
a nice
on it.
business suit, all classy. She looked like a certain Black Lagoon character, and I'm not gonna tell you who.
Oh,
yes.
Bella like that.
Yes.
What? I just said I wasn't gonna tell him, and you're like, it's Bella.
I mean, that's the first thing people
okay.
pointed out. It's
Okay, so anyways, she
AKA Fry
has
Face.
she has this look, and I'm very curious to see what her fighting style is. So that's what got me intrigued the most, is how is she gonna fight? So I'm looking forward to finding that out.
Awesome. All right. And moving on to the next piece of news. So SNK has been giving us these awesome updates regarding the development of King of Fighters 15. And so it's been a long time in the making. They've been taking their time developing it, because this is the next part of the arc that is supposed to lead on after the Ash Crimson arc came to an end. For all of you that have been following the King of Fighters series, there has been the Orochi saga from 95 to 97, then another dream match, then the Nest Cartel saga from 99 all the way to 2001, another dream match. And then after that was the Ash Crimson New Hero saga from 2003. And then they stopped putting the years and started putting it to episodes, ending with episode 14. Now, the latest character reveal for King of Fighters 15 was Chizuru Kagura, who's also known as the Peacekeeper of the Sacred Treasures team that they're calling it now, where she is the holder of the mirror and the neutralizer to both the powers of the Yada clan, of the Kusanagi and the Yagami clans. And to see them three come together is very reminiscent of the ending of King of Fighters 14, which showed where Verse, the character, had absorbed all of the energies and powers of all the previous SNK bosses, even some from the Samurai Spirit series, and his destruction also released the spirit of Orochi. And it showed where Iori, Kyo, and Chizuru came together to try and stop him from reforming again.
Yep.
So this may be a continuation from that. Have y'all seen the trailer? And if you have, what do you think?
You saw it?
Yeah, I did see the trailer. I think there was a couple of things that, you know, a lot of people ended up picking up on, where normally with the Kyo trailer, how they had the interaction between him and Iori, it didn't feel like there was very volatile feelings. You kind of pick up on like the personalities in the trailers, and I figured that it was originally I was thinking either Sacred Treasures or it was going to be the team that, you know, Iori is used to you know, forming as usual. But I felt like, you know, over time as we saw the trailers, how Kyo's kind of putting Benimaru to kind of help Team Hero and stuff like that. I think it figured that, you know, Sacred Treasures was more of a possibility than anything. And also, this could kind of play into a role of, you know, Daimon leading Team Japan, and then, you know, you could have Shingo kind of progressing his own as a fighter. And then also you could get like a brand new person for Team Japan to kind of represent as well, get like new character variety into the mix.
I am hoping, I'm hoping to see Elizabeth Blanca-Torch as well as my girl Vice.
So, okay, saw the trailer, very, very happy. All of us SNK fans have been rejoicing since the roundtable. Sacred Treasures team is phenomenal to have back, which, you know, is everybody's been talking. Oh, Orochi come back, and then, okay, is Joe going to be on a team or is Joe going to be by himself? So now we're wondering if Joe's going to be a loner because he can never catch a break. So, you know, we're wondering what's happening with that. And then on top of that, this makes me really, really happy. And I'm sorry, I'm like fangirling right now for no apparent reason. But this is making me hope that not only, you know, Orochi's coming back, we have the Sacred Treasures, aka Mom, the babysitter, along with Benimaru. I love how these two are babysitters, and everybody's been making like phenomenal fan art of either Benimaru taking care of the new hero team, and, you know, Chizuru already being Mom, like constantly separating Kyo and Ori. I just absolutely love it. Congrats to all the artists out there. You guys are doing a great job. Please give me more. I need it. But I'm hoping that this brings in, you know, Shermie and Yashiro and Chris and team, you know, CYS. And then not only that, I'm now hopeful that Ginetz may come back. If you have Orochi, if you have Sacred Treasures, you know, if we're getting a little more of these hints and tips, then I am praying for like Ginetz to come back, and then most importantly, when he does, do not ban him from tournaments, okay? Can we like just ask SNK to make him playable at least so he's not banned again, because everybody hates and loves Ginetz and you can't play him in tournament. You gotta have Ginetz come back and be playable in tournaments. So no, I'm super happy, obviously you can tell, but it was a great trailer, good round table. And on the Synchronized channel I'm a part of, we're definitely going to be talking about it more, because we like to go over all the weekly trailers and like pick them apart, and it's great good times. So I really love how SNK is doing this slowly so far, and if they're going to take their time on the game, so be it. I know everybody's upset with rollback netcode and that not being announced for 15. And honestly, we have a thing going around the internet right now. The hashtag is SNK rollback, because we want to not give them a hard time about it, but we want to let them know from the bottom of, you know, our fans' hearts and, you know, everybody who loves SNK, that please give us rollback netcode if we have to wait till 2022 or longer. Like, I'm fine with it, because I want SNK and I want King of Fighters 15 to succeed. So 14 got a bad rap. It's a great game, and I just want them to actually, you know, succeed with this. And us fans, we love and stand by you, SNK. So, you know, just take your time. Rollback netcode is, you know, the future is now, and that's one thing that has changed with the pandemic and everything else. So hopefully we get some news maybe when they're ready, you know, to release the game. Hopefully that's something they've just been holding on to. So we'll see.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's our new segment for this episode. Moving forward, we're going to start with you, Cobra Tone. What's up?
right,
What toy you got going on?
Okay, everybody, we are going to get into my favorite toy line. I know you probably heard me mention this toy company on a few different episodes, especially for their 112 line. And I am going to present you my favorite toy line based out of USA. Mezco Toys.
Hey.
If you don't know about Mezco Toys, the history behind these guys started in year 2000. It was from the fallout of Aztec Toys, which had their most popular line was Silent Screamers, which they had horror figures, like small, like 6-inch action figures, very highly articulate on a paperback card. When Mezco formed again in 2000, they kept their horror theme going with the Living Dead dolls, and they have licensing for characters like Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason from Friday the 13th, Michael Myers from Halloween, Chucky from Child's Play, and they even brought back Nosferatu, which was one of their most popular ones from the Silent Screamers from the Aztec toys. But now we are going to get into this specific toy. Mezco has a big licensing. They have a lot of stuff going on from DC, Marvel, and a lot of other in-betweens, RoboCop, a lot of other nice brands and favorite characters that you love. But we're going to get into the mascot. The mascot is Gomez. And Gomez
Nice.
is a roach.
What?
Yes, he is a roach. This is the only roach I would want in my home. This is yes.
I want no roaches in my home.
Seriously. So, here's the emblem. This is the roach head. He is the actual mascot. Gomez is actually a secret agent character originally made by Mezco Toys. They have their own characters in their line called Rumble Society, and this guy is the head kingpin. This toy is sought out. Anytime, this is the extra heads. I'll show you the rest in a second. But whenever they have a Gomez toy on this line, it will sell out in 12 to 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I'm an inbox collector, but today I will be unwrapping this one for you guys.
Wow.
And this one is...
Nice.
Oh.
The Game of Death.
Wow.
Gomez. Yes.
Oh my God! No, they didn't.
Yes.
It's a Bruce Lee roach.
Bruce
Yes.
Lee roach.
Wow.
Fully articulate 30 points of articulation. With this 30 points, it's the most articulated toy that I can think of. You have major ab flex. You can do breakdance moves, skateboard moves, all kind of poses. Creates the best pictures. Game of Death, this got released, I think, about a week before Bruce Lee's birthday last year, 2020. So, sought out after. My boy called me when I was on the road. I pulled over immediately, went on the website, ordered me 2 of them. As soon as I got back on the phone, checked it again, sold out. So I'm glad I got this. This came at $95, but now you would have to spend about $275 to $350 on eBay. So let's get into some of the guts of this thing.
That's a lot for one roach.
Yes, he's a ballin' roach, people. This is the roach you want. So he's a 6-inch figure. You know what I mean? He's got don't mind the rated R part. But, he has everything in here. He has extra heads. He has all the weapons you can think of. He has katana. He has sais. He has kasumagari. He has shurikens, kunai. He has... This thing has so many accessories. That's why everyone loves this thing. Look at it. It has more accessories.
Whoa.
He has the boom box.
He has a boombox. That's
Yes,
great.
he has,
Oh,
he
man.
has the flame hands. He
Is
has
that like a chibi of him or something? What's that little figure?
It's called a Mezits. This is a Mezits. Every release comes with a Mezits.
Oh,
He has his
wow.
own. He has his own little nunchucks too.
So you have a collector toy with a collector toy.
Yes.
So I
yes.
guess it's like
Inside a
Baby
collector
Roach
toy.
or something.
Yes, this is just egg roach. So you have 14 different hands. His clothing is full cloth. You can take this off. You can actually customize this with all the 112 accessories from most other companies. The shoes are Chucks. It has real stitching, real leather. this is
Wow.
as real as you're gonna get.
Man.
This is dope.
I want you to set it up right now.
How much was that
I really want
toy?
to see
It's
this.
nice.
I got it at 95 on release date, but literally, if you wanted to buy it right now, I have an extra one on eBay for $350.
Of course you do.
For a roach.
Of course you do.
And there's an extra
Well,
little mez. This is
I-
a generic mez. It's not the little mini roach
Not
you've
the
seen, but
limited
this
edition
is
one.
a generic one.
Okay, so they even have a blind box one it comes
Yeah.
with too.
Wow.
So you're getting a figure, his minifigure,
And then
a blind box little bag, and then all those accessories for $95. No wonder it sells out in like 15 minutes.
Yes,
Right.
and
That's-
remember,
that's
it's
actually really cool.
one of the most articulated toys that I have ever seen in my life. Like, I've known, like, Hot Toys, you can do some dope poses and stuff, but any pose you can freestyle in your brain, you can do with this toy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's why everybody loves it. Like, the poses, the fight scenes, when you're fighting either other DC, Marvel from Mezco Toys, or just anybody else in Rumble Society. You can make really, really, really
Well,
dope.
you're opening another toy already?
Yes, this is Gomez Day. So Gomez Day. All right, we just had
It's not over.
we just had Toy Fair 2021 with Mezco all over their Facebook and their Instagram. They have so many things coming out from Colossus. No, not Colossus. My bad. They already did something like that. They're doing Destro. I got the metal faces mixed up. It was Destro. They're doing a new 1990s Wolverine with the blue yellow suit.
Mhm.
They're going to be doing the Crow with the long hair, looking like
Nice.
Sting almost.
Right.
They had a few other characters. Fantastic Four. I think they might come out as a box set. So, yeah, you got to look out for Mezco in the future. Definitely a hot item.
All right, what you opening now? What do we got
This
now?
is the Crimson Dragon. Gomez.
Crimson Dragon.
So,
Crimson
like I said, this guy comes in Bruce Lee form, ninja form, samurai form, street cop form, street narc form, undercover enforcer form. He's the secret agent of secret agents. This guy is James Bond of roaches. All right, so
The ultimate mascot.
yes, this one also was 95. This one sold out in like I think 10 or 11 minutes. By the time I called my friend, I hasn't even tried to call you to get one. It sold out by the time I got to get you guys a phone call, and I tried to get an extra one. So
When you order them, I'm sorry. When you order them online, like, is there a limit?
yes, it's one per account. So I have like 5 accounts and 5 different
I was just
cards.
gonna say, Jesus, all right. I don't know if you want to be
how's your-
sharing that tech right now, but okay.
So I wake up every because they have sneak releases too. So I know their days and times they release, but they don't announce them all the time. So I have my alarm set on my phone for 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and I check this site every Monday through Friday.
Good Lord.
And you get things like this
Wow.
where I got one, got another count, got 2, got another count, got 3, called them, tried to get another one, and it sold out.
So wow, this is the roach you want. So I guess it'd take more than a can of spray to stop him.
No. It takes a whole Rumble Society to stop him.
Wow.
Shout out to Rumble Society. But yeah, so you got the roach. He has the red eyes, the crimson red. Well, I don't know if that's really crimson red. That's what we were all saying. It's more like a scarlet. But yeah, he has the nice ninja suit, fully belt everything. The ninja tabbies. You can take all this off and customize everything too. Like you can put a 112 leather jacket on him, and you can make him hip hop roach if you want. He comes with 2 extra heads, more weapons, all the weapons you can think of a ninja would want. Let's see what's in the back.
And there's more.
Yes.
There's more.
But wait, there's more.
The bow and arrows. He comes with the claws.
A new
he comes
boom
with.
box.
A new
He comes with the
red
I
one.
believe this is Tickle, the weapon that was used, I believe, in
Enter the Dragon.
no, not Enter the Dragon. The same. What's the dude's name from
Describe it.
Lopan?
Oh, okay. Big Trouble in China.
Yeah, was it Rain Cloud or
Oh, yeah.
Thunder?
Yeah,
Sun
yeah,
Moon?
Thunder used it.
So yeah, you get this, and you can still, I think, go back here and you get more. This is
More?
What?
No, it's not more.
Oh,
It's just
Yeah.
but it has a cool stand. No, this thing's really cool, guys. Everybody wants the older Gomez's used to come with a hoverboard too, a customized hoverboard. They want that back. That's highly in demand. But the radio, the articulation, the detail, as many accessories you get for resellers also. This is the toy to have. This is my favorite line. And I will always be a good fan of these guys because they keep releasing new badass stuff like Destro. So, you guys pay attention to Mezco. Invest. I do. I've made a lot of money reselling. I have a happy collection. Get one. Roaches.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Very impressive.
And that's the latest of what was in Cobra Kai Tone's toy box. I guess I want a pet roach too. Okay, moving on. All right, Galaxy B, what do you have for us with fashion and hip hop and what's going on?
It's funny you asked that, Cookie, because I'm back with something else for you. Now, you're familiar with faces like me from the fighting game community, Cookie as well. I usually focus on fighting games, but that's not the only games that I play.
Okay.
So I play first-person shooters. And what's one of the hottest first-person shooters on the planet? Call of Duty. So my favorite brand, Billionaire Boys Club, came together with Call of Duty, and they made this exclusive Call of Duty Billionaire Boys Club collaborative tee. These are super limited, sold out really, really fast. Has a great graphic of the Billionaire Boys Club classic logo, but it has all this digital numbers and all the crazy stuff from like the radar scanners and stuff like that, but that's within the text. It's really dope. This is the white and blue tee right here. And then this one's I call this the Matrix, like kind of Xbox colored one right here. This is the astronaut helmet logo. It's another dope piece from the collection. It's a long sleeve. I loved it because it's super rare. It combines video games and fashion together. There's not too many brands that are doing that on this level. A lot of brands are getting hip to it now. Billionaire Boys Club has kind of been a pioneer in collaborative crossovers with other brands and such. You can find this great type of merchandise at reddiamondsclothingstore.com. And yeah, tell me what you think about that.
I like this. How many more colors does this one come in?
So this also comes, this one only came in this colorway, also in a black version, but it's not the same font exactly.
Okay.
It's kind of like blurred out and it looks kind of 3D in the other version of it.
Okay.
I actually gave that away recently to some supporters of ours who are part of Team Strike First and Red Diamonds Clothing Store, and we gave one of these away. So we'll have that on the page for people to check out. Make sure you check that out on Instagram. Yeah. That's
Okay.
you.
All right. You surprised me today.
Really?
All right. I like that. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing what's going on in the fashion world and the collaboration with Billionaire Boys Club and Call of Duty. I would have never seen that coming. Wow, that's cool. Awesome. Well, moving on. All right, Infernal Spiral. I want to know what's going on in the world of the competitive arena of Tekken 7, and how have you been doing in the tournaments, and what should we be expecting from this new season update?
All right, so for those who don't know me, my name is Infernal Spiral. I recently got into the FGC in 2014. Originally, Tekken's my main game currently, but I originally started off with Dead or Alive 5. So that's how I ended up meeting a lot of the people locally near like the San Jose area, Breezy Excursion, when it used, the OG place that we had before it eventually, evolved into other stuff. But, in the Tekken realm right now, a lot of people are kind of, we touched on it earlier with the recent Tekken trailer that came out, and how a lot of people are vocal on, how short it was, how long it took for people to wait for an announcement, because they were, obviously Michael Murray, some of the, Harada was hyping it up. Mm-hmm. Then, they had the recent tweet before the actual round table that Harada was in Sega, so a lot of people assumed it was going to be a Virtual Fighter character. And especially since they're kind of getting into like the esports realm, and we haven't heard any information for them on that as well. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it, there's a lot of I don't know what the word to call it is. There's a lot of anger amongst the community, and there's a lot of negative Nancy's. I would say I would understand. It's only like they only have like 6 seconds of in-game footage, and the majority of it is actually showing real life Poland. Mm-hmm. But I feel like some of the responses are a little unnecessary, I would say. I understand that we're trying to kind of convey, how like the SNK group is, wanting rollback netcode. And as of late, the netcode that we currently have for Season 4, because they tried to, strengthen, the netcode, because it was originally it's a variable netcode. So it was on variable 3, and then they ended up strengthening it when Season 4 came out. And originally it was fine. Most of the time I haven't had too many issues with it. I mainly play on PC. So that's where a lot of the tournaments have recently evolved as of late. Console gaming has kind of been, like 50-50. It's in a rough spot right now. And I feel like the netcode in particular ended up hitting console the worst. Because I recently did a PS4 tournament 2 days ago, and it's nothing like PC at all. There's at least like a 2-frame difference. It was always, that way before, when the game actually came out, and people didn't, ride the PC train at first. It wasn't until, recent seasons that, a lot of the pro players started going to PC. And then, eventually a lot of recent tournaments that have been happening, they've been kind of evolving into PC, like Equinox. They've been doing PC tournaments. The group that, I'm in, Fragmented Society, we have a tournament coming up on Thursday. That one's PC as well. So, and then, we have Kingdom Arcade, which is also local here in North Cal. They've been doing, Old Boy Body Hours on Thursdays as well. Usually ours is monthly, so at the very least it doesn't conflict with what they're doing. So that's like the main thing that we're trying to do, at least in the Tekken community, because at the time, like, Wednesday night fights for us kind of fell off over time, and all of a sudden they kind of evolved into what's now ICFC, which is usually they kind of do like the thing with like North America, and it's like the big tournament that everybody kind of does every week. It's always on Wednesdays. And, so we're trying to make it to where that, there's enough Tekken for everybody. Everyone's trying to get better. Most of the time we would go to like YouthNet in Sunnyvale or something like that to actually train, on our free time. But, with the current situation, it's, difficult to do that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I know you mentioned about Dead or Alive. Are you still playing that game?
Yes, I still play Dead or Alive 6, the current iteration of the game. Originally, I wasn't really, into like the fan service like most people are. Usually like that's kind of what draws people in is like a lot of the female fighters. But, I feel like what drew me in was, how realistic the martial arts is and, the 3D graphics at the time. I mean, like I was playing, a couple of like fighters here and there. But I was very casual back then, and most of the time I spent my days playing shooters or, hack and slashers. So when I started getting the fighting games a little bit more, I started to appreciate a lot of the time and, the stuff that goes into, making these sort of games. And when they made the big leap into 5 and, you got the big graphical update and then, all the content that's there, you have like tutorial mode, like pretty much anything it's possibly there. I feel like it's very underrated as a series. It's it kind of has that bad rep, especially what happened at when they announced the game at Evo.
Evo Japan.
Yeah.
This one,
when the core values hit.
Yeah. So it kind of hurt us. So when the game actually launched, we tried our best at Wednesday Night Fights to kind of promote the game, but at most we could probably get like 8 people or less at a time. So it didn't really take off too much. And I mean, it's more so people don't like this current iteration because of the certain features that are within the game, like the meter system and, removing the ground game, that sort of stuff. Like a lot of the aspects of what, made DOA, DOA was either like dumbed down or taken out.
Right. Well, hopefully in the future, when we get the next iteration of DOA, they will kind of revise some of that for the fan community as well as also meeting certain standards for today's time.
Hey, so I'm a Virtua Fighter guy. For DOA, when Akira was in DOA, was he a good character to use?
Oh, he was top tier.
Okay,
He was top tier.
I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, he's pretty much when it came to him and like the Virtual Fighter characters and how they played in their actual game, they played pretty much the same. You kind of just have like the hold system and everything like that that's kind of implemented. That's like their old triangle system and everything like that. But they actually mesh pretty well into the game, and hopefully DOA can kind of expand on those sort of crossovers, because all they've done for the most part was Virtual Fighter and, King of Fighters within like 5, how they had Mai.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how was Mai in that?
She was awesome.
Yeah.
She played like King of Fighters Maximum Impact.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. She's good in both 5 and 6.
Good to know.
And then, basically, in terms of like how they played and the whole play style in general, like if you played Akira in Virtua Fighter, it would mesh pretty well.
Okay.
You would have no problem with it. Getting the one frame knees down, all that sort of stuff. He was basically top tier, but obviously due to the execution barrier, not many people could really play with him at a high level like that. So that's why you only saw like, a few, like the player from Japan. I believe there's a few players in North America who play him, but there's not too many. But obviously they're well known for playing Akira, and at the high level that he can do a lot of work if you put the time into it.
Yeah, that's exactly how Akira is for Virtua Fighter. You can't just punch, kick. You got all kind of maneuvers and timings to get those power combos down. And it took me a while. It took me at least a year and a half to get comfortable where, how did I do last tournament? Did I do all right? Yeah.
You beat me. So, I don't like that.
Yeah, currently there's like no real support right now. They've announced, a while back that they kind of stopped support for 6, but a lot of people are still doing tournaments. One of the pro players, Hoodless, usually does a bi-weekly. Sort of like a bi-weekly. He kind of rotates between PC and PlayStation 4 because a lot of people started moving towards PC for DOA 6. So he kind of does like a rotation to make sure that, everybody is, gets their turn and kind of like, shows off their skills to the world that, a lot of people, feel, to kind of bring DOA to the scene and kind of show people that, it's more than just, tits and, sexy women.
And nude mods. It's more than nude mods? Like, wait, what? DOA is more than nude mods. What have I missed?
Yeah, because, in 5, I played Rig. So mostly he's like self-taught master. He kind of, trains himself within the oil rig, which is, his nickname. He doesn't really have an actual name, but, if you kind of play into the story more, you kind of figure out his origins and, how intricate he is as the major part, goes on. And then recently in 6, I played Tamaki. So she's a Aikido fighter. She's the last character that they put into the actual game before they kind of stopped support. And I kind of like how she played because I guess Momiji was supposed to be that person to practition into it, but she kind of plays.
Momiji is the cool looking one who wears like the black and red and everything. Yeah, she actually caught my eye. I was like, wow, this is a really cool character.
Yeah, if you're familiar with like the Ninja Gaiden series, that's where she kind of comes from.
Okay,
so like her, Hayabusa and Rachel, they all are connected within that particular story.
Right. I know Hayabusa, but I didn't know the rest. All right, good to know.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us what you do and the games that you're currently still playing. We look forward to hearing more from you in a very immediate future.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Kitty, what's going on in your world of anime, politics, and cosplay?
I'm really happy that you brought up the fact that they actually featured mocap for the Street Fighter Winter update, which is something I kind of wanted to bring up and talk about, is how video game companies, I feel right now, are missing out on some crucial key elements to help them get out there more, especially with marketing, and to actually touch more with their fan base in general. And 2 big parts of that is what I agree with you, Cookie, is showcasing more of the martial artists, the mocap people who also make video games. Because in the FGC, we notice that they always just feature pro players. There are so many of us that actually make the FGC community, not just the pro players. You have cosplayers, you have martial artists, you have voice actors, you have motion capture artists, you have fan artists and Artist Alley, you have the companies that make the merchandise. I mean, I could go on for days, especially, with collector figures, which I'm a huge fan of. And it's just like, we hardly get figures of all these beautiful badass characters that you guys could be charging a couple $100 and we would scoop up immediately. Like, trust me, I'm trying to sell my kidney to get the Geese Howard figure that's like $800 right now. My heart's broken. I missed out on Terry because that was $2,000 I would totally have thrown to get both those figures, and when you put them together, oh my God. Anyways, yes, I know you know how I feel. I know exactly. See, and here you've got fans with disposable income that want to support your games and your company and your characters, you guys are missing out in a lot of ways with not touching base more and interacting more with your community. Like, there are tons of voices out there. They don't have to be super top influencers or pro players for you to listen, because we say this stuff on the daily on Twitter. And that's what brings me to the subject of, I feel like if video game companies really want to succeed more now in the future, you have all these different outlets to do so. You come talk to us cosplayers, we're more than happy to work for you, because I can't tell you guys how many times there's something I like to call, just like the 09ers in fighting games. Guess what? We had 09er cosplayers. And this kind of, for me, I'll get into it in a later subject, but this was the start of the, degradation of cosplay. Because you brought in these people that just wanted to do things for free, to get out there, to get noticed, throw on a bikini and a wig and call yourself so-and-so, do whatever you can. Like, it just went out the door with the craftsmanship and just went to the sex appeal. Anyways, totally different topic is for another day. But going back to what I'm saying is, a lot of video game companies at this time with these 09er cosplayers started trying to take advantage of us. They would have us come, they would ask us to come to the booth, but not pay us. They expected us to have, our parking paid for, a hotel room to stay in already, and a badge already. Like, there is one predominant video game company that actually kind of screwed me over doing this in 2010. They saw me dressed as a famous ninja girl. They're like, wow, this cosplay is perfect. You want to come work for our booth at E3? And I'm like, yeah, I've done, modeling at E3 booths before. No problem. Exchange business info, completely ghosted. Didn't hear from them. I'm trying to call this person. They're shining me on. They're blowing me off. And then E3 passes, and I never got a call back. A reason why is because, I let them know that, hey, I'm happy to bring this costume. Do I get payment for... You want me to take pictures with people? Do you want me to act like the character? You want me to interact? It's X amount of dollars. And completely nothing back. Then they hit me up again and apologized that they claimed they were so busy that, sorry, it was a mess for E3. Can I get you to work Comic-Con? And I was like, yes. So I would definitely like to have a badge. And if you can, help me out with hotel room or whatever, and I'll take care of the rest. And again, I was told by this media manager that worked for this company, just like, oh yeah, I'd love to have you, but I can't give you a badge. I can't pay you. I just want you to show up there, for free, and get people hype about the game. And I'm just like, nope, goodbye. And this happens so much, and I see it happening still now, especially with, new generations that are so excited just to be part of something that they're willing to just lower their standards and work for free. And this has kind of killed, for us professional cosplayers that actually work and make our costumes by hand. If the company's not going to have somebody do it for us, like, we're making it. This is costing us out of pocket. Like, there's been so many nightmare stories about Blizzard doing this to people, not paying for them for their time, having these cosplayers make phenomenal detail costumes and not paying them, having them work for free, not giving them prize money. Like, the list goes on. And this is what I feel is partly killing a lot of gaming companies, is because you've lost our fandom. You've lost our trust. You don't see us in a light that you should. Just as much as we respect you guys for making the games, you got to respect us for doing what we do as well. And I feel like in the fighting game community, we struggle so much just with even paying our players a good amount of money when they win events. We got people struggling to get teams together and finance and sponsor people left and right. This is one thing that companies could do to help and make sure their brand stays afloat and alive, because you have no idea the power of the community. The community can make and break your game. And there are so many other factors involved. Look at how many people are upset right now. I partly blame COVID for ramping up the anger but it's just like so many people are upset right now, frustrated, bored. Everyone's got a negative attitude. So these are things that, you know, you can help fix as, you know, people working for these video game companies. You get us hyped with trailers, maybe feature an artist, maybe feature a cosplayer, maybe do some giveaways, and not just the giveaways in Japan, but we need more love out here in the US, because a lot of times there are special promos and promotions and things like that, and they're only in Japan and we don't have access to them. If we have US, you know, branches, and that doesn't mean you have to just like buy a building and make things happen. It's like, even if you have people in Japan just trying to represent the US, I think that would be a great way to just get yourselves out there more with a game that you're trying to spread, you know, good news about throughout the community, especially for like upcoming games. With SNK and their community managers and stuff, they're doing an okay job for right now. I think it's good what they're doing, and I feel like Capcom and Bandai Namco and all these other companies really should be focusing on the other people that make the FGC the FGC.
You know what wow. That's quite the.
I know. Wait, let me take a breath now.
Quite the epitaph. But I will say that what you're talking about with self-marketing has also happened with just regular marketing outside of fandom and geekdom and sci-fi, where why do we want to pay a model to sell our skincare cream or our body wash line when, oh, there's the person that supports our stuff that's doing it for free on YouTube. And everyone's seeing it for free on YouTube, and we're getting sales. So, you know, a really, really, really good successful example of that was Patti LaBelle and her damn pie. You know, at Walmart. You know, no one knew that woman made sweet potato pie until James Wright started singing like Patti LaBelle on YouTube and did that, and then, you know, experienced something that you were saying. At first, you know, Patty was try to play him, you know, until the fan community came out and said, wait a minute, nobody knew about your pie until James Wright put your pie on the map. Now people go to Walmart and your pie doesn't exist.
Sold out.
Sold out because James Wright, you know, so then, you know, she finally made it up by taking him to Louis Vuitton and getting him a Louis Vuitton bag. But then
I enough.
she ended up doing more because the fan community really went in on Patty after that. And because of Patty, he ended up getting all these different deals because he was a genuine singer. And his singer, or him being a singer, you know, put her pie on the map and then put him on the map for other things he didn't even realize it. So I understand where you're coming from.
That's the thing. And if you have a good working relationship, like I said, you know, companies that I saw in a negative light, and I've seen them continue to do this unless you're like a favorite of theirs or somebody who knows somebody that got you in. But there's also really good companies that do this, just like Red Bull. Like I work Conquest and, you know, for Red Bull and stuff, and they treat their cosplayers phenomenal. All of their talent, they really take care of them. They're great people to work for. I've been like super fortunate to work with Red Bull, and I hope I can continue to work with them in the future because they actually do take care of you. And even some of my friends, like I've met through doing cosplay jobs through Red Bull. So it's really great, and that's, again, they know how to bring together a community like that and have people there that are entertaining at events, and that's what a lot of people want. Real quick, E3 back in the day, oh my God. I cannot, I'll tell you the stories of the golden age of E3 later, but not only everywhere you stepped, like swag is being thrown at you. I can't tell you how many gaming systems and controllers I got for free. Oh my God, I got like 3 Game Boy Advances one year. That was like godlike, but not only did you have all this awesome swag, you also had performers. You had singers, you had dancers, you had actors acting out the characters. You know, I was dressed at my taking pictures with DOA girls, and everyone was losing their shit over it because it was just like, oh my God, it's like cross collab, oh my God, pictures everywhere. But that's the key element that's missing, all right? It's fine y'all went corporate, but now you're realizing that, gee, your games aren't lasting as long as they used to.
They lost the
shelf life
core.
is cut off because you lost the community, and you guys got to really work to get that back.
And speaking on marketing, I mean, when you get into marketing, it's a very expensive part of a company. You know what I mean? When
Yes.
you're talking about paying talent to come to your shows,
Yes.
it's minuscule compared to the dollars they're trying to put into a magazine. And word of mouth
Right?
is still number one.
Yes,
of marketing.
exactly.
The most trusted marketing is word of mouth.
And they do, like, companies do get a good handful of money. It's just up to their marketing managers and whoever is charged to see how to spend that money. And this is where you guys got to know, start throwing a few dollars to us in the community, because we already love your product and talk about it forever for free. You know, give some incentive to make that escalate and go into a better direction.
Well, a lot of it comes with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on which community you need to go into. If you're looking for something professionally done, especially if you want to bring in the fan community at a higher level, right, of course you can reach out to the anime community, but not many of the cosplayers in the anime community can make the characters physically, athletically come to life.
Yep.
They know how to master the look and the aesthetics, but when it comes to saying, hey, if you're going to dress like someone we already know, like Chun-Li, can you stand on one leg?
Can you throw a kick?
Can you do Senretsu Kyaku? You know, how many years in Kung Fu have you been doing?
Yes.
You know, things like that. And
Yes, and this is what I respected and appreciated in cosplay in the early 2000s. It wasn't just standing there and looking pretty and something that you purchased. It was if you went on stage, if you acted like the character, if you looked like the character, if you really brought that character to light, you were saying the things they say, you were doing the movements they do, you know, and you were showing that on stage. That really blew people's minds, and I feel like that's another thing that's lacking in this day and age of cosplay, and what separates a professional from just a fan.
lost of imagination.
Does social media have a big thing to play into that? Because I know
Yes.
people that will fake do things and take the picture and make
Yes.
it seem like they do things, and they're probably doing the same thing with cosplay.
Exactly,
Like,
they
I can
are.
do this, but I can't. I'm just gonna take one flick and make it look like I
Oh
can.
yeah, no, I've seen one girl. She just recycles regular clothes and then will like Photoshop it different colors, or Photoshop the name of like Capsule Corp on her shirt, and then take an app and dye her hair turquoise, and then be like, "I'm Bulma." It's just like, look at the pain. See, it's not just me, you guys. The pain.
But if you really want to be real about it, nobody's playing fair when it comes to online representation
No,
through
and-
pictures and
exactly.
through, cosplay.
And this
They're adding
is-
effects and they're
Yes,
doing a lot of stuff to
yes.
spicing it up a little bit.
And that's
honestly.
fine for making a beautiful picture, but when, like I was saying in the previous show, this is where you do your research. Look past the followers.
Right.
Look past the CG. See if they make their own cosplay and props. See what awards they have won
And
in
that's why,
shows.
this show exists.
Yes. Thank you. This is why we come together and we discuss these topics, because you probably aren't going to hear this many other places.
Thank you, Kitty, for sharing your topic. It's something that we'll
Thank
definitely.
you.
That is a topic we'll definitely have to go into a part 2 about, and actually even have more example, even some visuals.
Yes.
Because sometimes people are very visual, and they'll
Yes.
have to see that.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
No, I appreciate it. You know, I'm here for the community. I'm here to help you guys. You know, I love the FGC. It's just like, these are subjects we got to talk about too. You know,
Tough love.
a little tough love.
And moving forward, I'm going to get into my mythological moments.
Yay!
Today is very simple. We're going to touch on Street Fighter, because since we had that Street Fighter V winter update, I have to talk about one of my favorite characters in the series. But before I do, hold on.
Oh,
I need to lubricate.
Ooh,
oh, water break.
fancy.
Water break.
Yes, I want y'all to see that. Okay, so in the Street Fighter universe, this is the timeline. There is Zero, which is Alpha in America, but it's Zero in Japan. I don't know. It was already an English word. I don't know why they
Yeah,
changed it.
I like it Zero instead
Yeah.
of Alpha.
But it was Zero, then Street Fighter 1, then Street Fighter 2 World Warrior Series, then 4, then 5, then 3. And for a long time, there was a lot of lapse in the story because after Street Fighter 2, there was a huge gap between 2 and 3. 3 takes place about 15 to 20 years in the future, and a lot of the characters reach the pinnacle of their martial arts form and the pinnacle of who they are as people, and they're ready to pass on the torch. Such as Ken has a son named Mel Masters. He also has a disciple known as Sean. You know, Elena, who's a lot older, but we finally get to see younger versions of her in Street Fighter 4, and so on and so forth. And by this time, we're introduced into the last iteration of a character like Chun-Li, who has taken on the adoption of all the stolen SIN, abducted SIN children of the laboratory in Street Fighter 4. And they never explain all of that until now. So now we're getting into the next chapter, which is supposed to close off all of the loose threads that connect 5 to 3. And part of this is dealing with a character named Rose. And so these are some of the Street Fighter comics that were rewritten over, because there are a lot of comics from Japan, the original ones in Japanese, but they decided to team up with Udon and rewrite a lot of that stuff. What wasn't rewritten also stayed with the Japanese drama CDs. If you're challenging your knowledge in Japanese, you can find these drama CDs and listen to them and listen to the dialogue, which also explains a lot of the stories on the back end. You feel free to pass these around.
Oh, I'm gonna.
And so, one of the characters that I'm focusing on here is Rose, who appears in the Street Fighter Zero series and is spiritually connected to Bison, who is the warlord throughout the entire main portion of Street Fighter, all the way up until 5. You know, he gets a break with Seth in Street Fighter 4, but for the main part, Rose is constantly connected to Bison, and the story goes like this. At one point, Bison, who was a martial artist,
That didn't help him.
That's okay. We could pick that up. So at one point, Bison, who wanted to be the world's most strongest martial artist, realized that in order to do so, he felt like he had to give up his humanity. He learned from a woman in Genoa named Master. And in knowing this, Genoa taught him an ability known as soul power. He took soul power and he manipulated that energy into something he called psycho power. And for him to manifest the most heightened form of psycho power he needed to give up his humanity. In doing so, giving up his humanity meant destroying the parts of himself that was humane. And by doing that, he went back to Genoa to kill the very master that taught him the soul energy. When he does this, he separates himself from his soul, and his soul becomes a separate entity known as Rose, who then doesn't really know who she is until later on, but finds out that she is psychically and spiritually connected to this madman who is trying to take over the world. She does her best work by infiltrating who he is by stopping one of his greatest assassins, Cammy White, who is responsible for the death of Chun-Li's father. Rose would eventually liberate Cammy from Bison's mind control and follow her throughout her life as she's doing something what she calls liberating souls from the control of Bison. She decides to take Bison on, defeats him at one point, but he still survives. Rose fights him at one point again. She faints from exhaustion and gets saved by Guy, who becomes a potential boyfriend interest for her much later on in the series. And every step of the way, Rose tries to find her purpose until she comes across the path of Ryu, who she feels is the enlightened one who will reach his higher self to stop this madman. And so instead of fighting him, she is now allying herself with Ryu, who is the person who she will mentor to gear him along the path to find his spiritual enlightenment, to reach that elevated martial arts status to which he will finally stop Bison, knowing that possibly in the end she will die as well because she is connected to Bison. And so, with that being said, the last story we're given in our current iteration of Street Fighter V is her being the mentor and master of the girl Menat. Okay. I know. There's a lot. Everyone likes Menat.
Menat,
I tried. I
No,
tried
isn't that
playing with Manat. I tried.
Why is Manat
so fun.
Why,
So
okay,
fun.
so why
To
is
crystal
Manat
ball?
so appealing? Well, I mean, I
As a character to use.
I know the crystal ball you can throw out, bring it back.
Okie dokie is
That's
big.
The yo-yo thing's cool.
We'll get
What
to
else?
that in 1 second
Right.
on Manat, but this is where we're left off with Rose, and as she's mentoring Manat, Rose realizes that her true and final mission is to collaborate and get all the Ascended Masters together to finally take out Bison. And these Ascended Masters is Oro from Street Fighter 3, who eventually takes Ryu to that next level, Dalsum, who's a Yogi Master, herself, and Manat. And perhaps one other person that's not mentioned yet. But she is doing this all at the same time while mentoring Manat. And that's where her story lies. And now when she gets released as a character in SF5 in early spring, possibly March or April, we will finally get those answers on what actually happens to her. Her story's always been very dramatic and has always ended on some type of cliffhanger, always never really in her favor, but against her. And hopefully they'll finally give her a nice closure to her story.
Hopefully.
Now, as for Manat, I oh dear. So when you look at Rose is very she's possibly one of the eldest women in the Street Fighter series.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell she has an age and a wisdom. She would be considered like the Storm almost of the Street Fighter women because of her age, and she takes on a much younger girl who has abilities that she wants to help harness and bring the best version of her out. I guess she is going to be her successor. I guess when you look at Rose and look at Manat, Rose is very reserved. You know, she's old-fashioned, so her dress goes all the way down to the ground.
Very
you know,
regal.
she's not revealing anything here. You know, her ninnies are covered up. You know, she fights with a scarf, and her soul energy projects through a scarf as a projectile. When you look at Manat, you know, she's you know, scandalously clad. You know, she's all over the place.
Doing a lot of flexible yoga
and-
moves.
You know, things that Rose can do, but never really showcase that side of her in battle. Like, you would never see that. And so when I tried playing with Manat to see what's the connection, you know, Manat's definitely a kid, and I don't think
immature. She's very
she's
immature.
immature and doesn't really see who she is as a girl. She's just having fun. And I'm surprised Rose didn't kind of weigh in on that. They left that part out. But
Free spirit.
free spirit. Really free-spirited.
It's really funny because if we really wanted to cosplay together, we would do a really good Rose and Manat.
Yeah, we don't.
More reserved than they.
It's already
They're like night and
the
day.
personalities are already there. I'm just like this, and you're just there, and it's just like
Like
it's the same thing. It's literally the same story with us as Rose and Manat.
Wow.
Manat would be she is the DOA character of Street Fighter. You know,
Ow!
the switching and the walking and the splitting and the you know,
Straight.
The hips
It's like-
don't
she's
lie.
she's overly sexual.
It's the
The
forward
hips don't
moonwalk.
lie.
It's the forward moonwalk.
Yeah,
ball in
it's
the
that
hand,
little.
though.
It's that little strut, you know. She got that little
She's-
pep in her step.
Yeah, her dash is very cool.
Yeah.
I can see why she appeals to the male young mind. You know, she didn't do anything for me. I did give her a chance. I did play with her because I needed to know her story to understand why in the hell Rose took this bitch on. You know, Rose has always been my favorite female character. You know, second is Chun-Li, but I needed to figure out, like, what's special. So that's why I even got the books, because the books tell you.
Oh, they do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are those books the same stories in the Udon comic books?
So these are the completed collections here.
Of the comics.
So
right?
these two are the Bibles that cover all of the Street Fighter II World Warrior series. And these cover 4 and 5, and two of them lead into the entire Illuminati saga with Street Fighter 3 that shows how the Illuminati was established and how Gil took over the remnants of the SIN laboratory and took the tandem engine from Seth and used that as a mechanism to wield his influence as the Messiah.
Yeah, I saw a
Yeah.
little bit of that in this one. I
It was
flipping through
it was very interesting, and Udon did a good job tying in all the loose ends and the threads and answers. For you Cammy fans out there, answers the questions you want to know. What happened to her? Why she wasn't in 3? She gets promoted and starts her own team called Delta Blue. And now she is the Colonel itself. She is,
Okay.
and it's in the book. There.
Is anybody we know in this Delta Blue? Is it part of her old team? Like,
It's a whole.
It's all new.
It's an all new team, and it
Okay.
consists of the dolls that she saved from the clutches.
Oh, okay.
Junie and Junie and all of them?
No,
all 16 dolls
like-
are there.
so
No-
it's everyone.
And everyone has their back to themselves. Everything is there.
Nice.
Wow, that's
I
right.
think they even give
right.
some redemption to Jury, who was hurt so bad when she lost her parents from Shadaloo. They even answer some stuff because she gets an invitation from Bison to go into the Illuminati, but they contract her to kill Seth before the invitation is accepted.
Wow.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that shows
Okay.
how Seth really died.
Ah,
yeah, in the book.
okay. Yeah.
Just saying.
So you're gonna have to tell me later what part the Delta come in, and so I could see my girl Noem Blue.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And they did a really good job.
Did they
Put
go on her story a
everything.
little bit with Noem Blue?
Close all of the threads. So if you
Okay.
play the video game is excellent. But just like the Mortal Kombat comics back in the day, they cover what the video games don't. And typical to Japanese products, you have the comic, you have the game, you have the animation, and then you have the drama CD. And the game and the comic will connect. The movie will cover some aspects that those properties won't. And then if you understand Japanese, the drama CD will fill in those parts.
Yeah. I only have a couple drama CDs. I have like the Iki Tosen one, which is really random. It was like a promo in one of like a new type magazine, and I had like a friend
I
actually
like
grab
Iki
that.
Tosen.
Oh,
a
you
lot.
know I love me some Iki
I have the
Tosen.
fighting game to that for PS2.
Yes. So I'm gonna go into that next episode. I have a fun little Iki Tosen thing that you guys will get a kick out of. But
I forget the girl with the eye patch. She was the masochistic. I liked her. She was my favorite.
yeah, Ryomu. And then there's Ryomu, Ryofu, but Kanu is my girl. So
And so that has been my mythological moment for this segment. That brings us to our topic of this episode, which is our favorite 80s and 90s electronic consumer stores.
yes.
What
Yes.
stores during the 80s and the 90s did you collect to?
All right, I'm just gonna go on ahead and start this one off. So I loved Electronics Boutique. Good old EB. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So the great thing about EB is that they later turned into GameStops, and they were a bit more lenient with trade-in games. Okay, you could actually make a few bucks at EB. All right, like I know I traded in some stuff. I actually won first place at a cosplay contest in Vegas, and then I won like a red custom PS2. Came with a controller, came with the iToy, it came with like all these games, and some of those games I already had. So I just like traded them into like EB and got like 2 like Nintendo DS's and a bunch of games for me and my sister that Christmas. So like EB was great back in the day. And I know it's not quite electronics, but as a kid growing up, KB Toy Store had a damn good video game section.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
did.
Yes,
it did.
That's like I think what saved the store for the longest time. Like I didn't care about the toys. You just go to the gaming section of KB. Like I always told my parents, okay, here's the KB ad, circled all the games. It's just like go here, take this. You must. It's dangerous alone. Take this, just like and get me all the games. But those two were like my top favorite '90s stores. I love them both.
That's what saved Jeffrey the giraffe.
At Toys R Us. At KB's, actually the last thing I did buy at KB's toy store right before it closed down, we went and bought going back was a Sega Master System. They still had a Sega Master System. So me and my
Wow.
brother bought one because we were all in Nintendo. We'd never owned the Sega Master System. I think Genesis was already out by then, and we were like, let's get the Sega Master System. So yeah, that was the last thing. Yeah, so yeah, KB Toys
Dude,
probably did get saved by the video
and
game
then it was
department.
like nobody knew about it, but everybody knew about it because every time I would go there, they were never out of stock. That was another good thing about them. Not only could you find stuff like that there, but they always had good stock. It wasn't like they were always tapped out like every other gaming place you went to. So that was a really cool thing about KB.
I'm gonna assume that the Sega Master System was on sale
Yes.
by then. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Should be.
With the nice checker, the nice pinstripe box, white with black pinstripe or blue, dark blue, whatever color pinstripe it was.
Okay, question: do you still have it?
No, I wish.
Aw.
I wish.
For
We
me,
were into the we need to get this new system, so we need money, so we
So
traded
traded
the systems in.
in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For me, back in New York City, we had a huge Virgin Megastore
Oh, another good one.
and lots of Japanese anime. Lots of
Yes.
Japanese anime.
Yes, it was
And-
expensive.
And it was, of course,
It was expensive.
just like Suncoast. Just like Suncoast. And at that time, it was VHS was king. And VHS was $50, $60, $70.
if it was
for-
imported, yeah.
Especially subtitles, even in English, even if it was dubbed, it was just so expensive. But those were my stores. My memories with toy stores per se was more Toys R Us because that was what was in the neighborhood, and my mom didn't feel like traveling out to Manhattan. So we had a huge Toys R Us in the Bronx, and I guess when she got my Game Gear was at the same time Mortal Kombat 3 came out from I think it was called Mortal Kombat Friday or something like that. Fatality Friday.
Yeah,
Fatality
wow.
Friday.
Forgot about that.
And the line outside of Toys R Us was so robust is the wrong word. It was down the street, around the corner,
like around the building.
because everybody wanted that for Super Nintendo and Genesis at the time. But for me, I didn't have a Super Nintendo or Genesis. I ended up getting it for Game Gear. Because at that time, they were trying to push on every platform. So Mortal Kombat 3 was for black and white Game Boy with the 4 batteries, Game Gear with the 6 batteries, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and PlayStation. If you was one of the lucky ones back then to have a PS1, you got the best version you could back then, which was the PS1 version of MK3.
Yep.
But yeah, my memories are with those stores, especially Suncoast, spending many a days looking at the anime section.
I'm still mad at how much money I dumped into Street Fighter 2V on VHS. You guys just have no idea. It was like towards the end, it was like painful to finish the ending of the series because it's just like, and that you only got 3 episodes per tape. You were friggin' lucky to get 4. Sometimes they'd have a 4th episode and you're like, holy shit, I thought this was over. Oh my God. It was worth the $30 for this tape. But, and then you get to the end to finish off the series and you're paying $30 for 2 freaking anime episodes on this VHS. It's just like, oh, it's so infuriating. I still have my Street Fighter 2V VHS collection, and I display it because I am so proud of myself for being like a kid and working my ass off to get that damn money to finish this damn series, and I promised myself we'll just stick to like the 6 3-episode OVAs from now on. Yeah, don't get caught up in those series, no.
I want to hear from you. What's going on?
Yeah, because originally I was like born mid-90s, so I was like 94. So, you know, aside from like, because I was a military brat for like, you know, a good half of my life. So usually we didn't exactly have those sort of stores. So most of the time, usually I got excited whenever we would go outside the military base and,
Yeah, go
you know,
shopping.
go shopping. So in one place in particular, when we went to, when I was still living in North Carolina, that's like the place that I spent the second most time in my entire life. My mom would drive up 2 hours all the way up to like the Capitol.
Wow.
So there was a mall over there, and so you know, aside from like the the teriyaki chicken, because I gotta have me my teriyaki chicken at least once every time I go there. They had the EV games right there too, so whenever I was done eating, I would just go there. And then there was the arcade on the far side too when it still existed, so it had like Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. It was like the center stage. Everybody was lined up to play it. You had all the other games. It was pretty good time. Another store that I ended up going to was Babage's. I'm not sure if any of y'all were familiar.
I've heard
We
of
didn't
it.
have one in New York.
I've heard of it. I've never had the luxury of going to one, but I've heard of it. I know what the store you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like all purple, and I'm like, it's very like dark limbed, and I was like, oh my god. So it's like, they had, a wide range selection of games and everything like that. Game Crazy was kind of like a similar thing, right next to Hollywood Video when both of those still kind of existed back then. But, usually Electronics Boutique was like the main place that I used to go to.
Yeah.
So other than that, on the military base, we had the PX, or it's known as the Exchange now.
Yeah.
So usually, we didn't have to deal with the extra taxes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But they had like a decent, video game section. Usually there's like a big, huge electronics section. I'd always tell my mom, I'm going to electronics section. She's like, okay. I start running there. I see like the games like DOA 2 and all that sort of stuff when like the Xbox was, wasn't released yet, and they kind of had like the launch games and stuff like that, the demos.
Yeah. The displays so you could play. Yeah.
Now you got like the GameCube and stuff like that, and your neck is, just leaning up trying to like make sure that you can see the game at like Walmart or something like that. But it was very. I didn't have too many, but the ones that I did go to, I did enjoy my time there.
Awesome.
That's good.
Okay. Dr. B.
I'd have to say I'm gonna take it back real old school.
Okay, I'm gonna sit up
Some
for
of,
this.
the, some of the OGs in the studio are gonna relate to this one.
Can you surprise me again?
So we're gonna start off. I got two for y'all,
Okay.
and no one failed to mention this but and we're gonna start with Radio Shack #1.
Oh yeah.
Radio Shack.
Okay.
And
Okay.
why Radio Shack? I mean, I'm talking about when it was the 90s and the Tiger handheld games were out. I used to go to Radio Shack to get them. Radio
Yes.
Shack had everything. Radio Shack had all the NES, SNES stuff.
It did.
It was one of the most amazing stores. In, anything state of the art, from the Walkman to whatever came out, it was at Radio Shack, and that was my joint right there. Radio Shack. I love Radio Shack. So R.I.P. Radio Shack.
They had some fun. they had some fun RC cars.
Oh yeah.
Remember when RC cars were the shit? All right, like I
That's
got
with the
mine
antenna,
from.
right?
Yeah, and a big long ass battery and a controller this size, and you're
Right.
like awkwardly trying to drive it as a kid. Like no,
Very loud.
Yes, very very loud. But damn, those things could fly off ramps and stuff. Like
You're
those are the
going to
best.
say something
You're the best.
about Radio Shack.
I am.
All right, so go ahead and then I'll move on.
Respect for raising Radio Shack. I forgot about that on my radar.
Right.
But I will say, many a days my mom was very gracious enough to escort me there and get the rabbit ears for the UHF channels. So
Yes.
to hook up the Super Nintendo, if you had one of those old TVs with the UHF channels that go click click click
Kids,
click,
Oh,
click,
yeah.
click,
kids
click, click, click,
nowadays.
click. I had that
They
Zenith
don't
TV.
know.
I had that
They
Zenith
don't
TV.
know how to switch from channel 3
or
to
four.
channel 4, right?
I had that Zenith TV all the way to PlayStation 2 era, came out in 2006.
Wow.
Yes, and it just went out. But the only way we could play the games, and Radio Shack was known for having all of those little. It was like batteries not included and Short Circuit wrapped up in one in a store.
Yep.
If you remember those movies,
I do.
all
that
those
movie.
little
Johnny
devices.
5.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
all those little technical pieces and stuff.
Transistors, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
Thank you.
You can make,
all
you can
those
make your
little
own circuit
things,
boards.
yeah.
And they had circuit boards for kids to play with so they can get in the field.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And they had all of that stuff, and it was sad to see. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting a little tearful here. the last radio the last Radio Shack ended in like 2019.
Did
I
it?
remember-
Oh, wait,
We
I think I
had
heard
one
about
here in
that.
San Jose. We had one here And I remember going to it, and there used to be one up the block from me, but that shut down way like 7 years ago. But the last one that I saw that I walked into was in 2019.
Wow.
Actually,
The sign's still up by my house.
It was
There's a
trying to be
Radio
like that
Shack.
last Blockbuster video that's
Right.
still alive and still functioning.
Yeah, I think ours was like '09, I think.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in San Francisco. This was a while ago.
Wow.
I think the last time I went to a Radio Shack, it was when I used to go to Valley Fair, like at the school when I was going to college, and usually because I was living with my uncle at the time, it was near Campbell and like Saratoga, and there was actually like a Radio Shack like in the far corner, and I never went in the Radio Shack in my entire life. Until that very moment, I went in the Radio Shack, and originally like I had a very old computer. It was like Windows XP until like my other uncle helped me to upgrade it, but it was still kind of old. Like it actually just it ran out in terms of like the Windows 7. It's like as of January of this year, we're stopping support. The moment I like turn on the computer, I was like, okay, good thing I got a laptop now. But originally I had like a very old monitor, and like the capacitor went out. So I was like, dang, because like I still needed to
And
do
you went to
schoolwork.
You went to Radio Shack.
I went to Radio Shack.
Wow.
They had an Acer brand TV on sale. I was like, I'm getting it. It's the last one. I was like, I'm getting it.
Wow.
It's shortly after it closed, and I was like, okay. Good thing I.
Welcome to the fold. You made it.
We have one last one.
Yes.
And this, so if you were shocked as you were at Radio Shack, the one that you forgot about, the gigantic cube that charges your phone, Circuit City. That was, that was my one. So Circuit City isn't everywhere, but Circuit City,
Isn't there like one left?
I haven't seen one in ages, but Circuit City was an amazing spot. It was basically Radio Shack on steroids. I mean, it had a big electronics section. It had video games, had your TVs, appliances, even cameras
everything.
galore.
Best Buy
Everything.
before Best Buy.
It really was.
It was.
It
It
really
actually
was.
was. Like, I think Best Buy killed Circuit City because that was like my dad's favorite store. I always went to the gaming section, see what they got. But like, my dad owned a computer company, and it was always Radio Shack and Circuit City we would go to when he needed like hard drives and everything, because he did like computer consultant and repairs, and he had that business forever. So, thanks to him, that's how I got into E3. But, like, that was his favorite stores. And we would always be going there. Like, the people knew him by name. They're just like, oh, we got that hard drive you ordered. Oh, we got this you ordered. Here's some new fans. It's just like, that was the store, though. But that was more like, I felt that was more for, like, the computer geeks at that point in time, in that era. Because, like, all the computer geeks, they were always, like, at Circuit City.
Well,
I mean,
Comp
it's just
USA.
one of
Comp
them.
USA was the competition at Circuit City.
Newegg, Circuit City. I mean, they were just all over the place, but that was also a big one.
I even remember the Circuit City commercial. The kid. No. It was a commercial. What? No. So chill out. It was a commercial with the kid with the sports Sony Walkman, and he said, "I bought this here a week ago, and I seen it at this advertisement." And
Oh my
then the
God,
guy
I
went to
remember
the register
that.
and
Oh
gave
my
the kid
God,
the $20 bill back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Price matching.
And he went,
Yes.
he went, that's it? He's like, that's it. And he goes, cool. And then he goes, welcome to Circuit City, where service is state of the art. Just like that. He goes, just like that. He goes, that's it? He goes, that's it? Cool. And then he goes right to that jingle.
You
right?
know what? That's such an important part of history to say that Circuit City really was one of the first to do price matching. Also, they was the first to do budget laptops for a company named called Alvaratech, if you remember.
I do not.
Alvaratech. They were like one of the first budget laptops running at the very end span of 98 second edition, going into the first edition of XP. You can find their budget laptops still on computers on eBay, and I think they became bought out by iBuyPower. I believe.
Oh, okay.
That's the fate of what took them. Just like Tiger Electronics was bought out by Hasbro.
Wow. The makers of G.I. Joe and Transformer toys.
Yo.
E-Man as well.
Yeah.
A lot of toys.
Don't forget My Little Ponies.
Mattel.
All of them. But you know what? I will always appreciate forever. Radio Shack will live in my heart because of Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Oh,
Just let me know if you find a Radio Shack. It's just like that's always gonna live in my heart. Like rip Radio Shack. That's such a good stupid line. I love it.
Yeah. Now we have to wait for our batteries from Amazon.
The Amazon.
For you fans out there, I am going to give you an honorable mention to Funcoland and also to Play and Trade. We didn't forget about those, okay?
R.I.P.
Trading video games with Funko Land. They gave a good price for trades on video games.
Forgot about Funko
Oh, yeah.
Land.
I used to be a manager
Crazy.
at one at Southland Mall.
Oh,
Well, a little tidbit. Galaxy V's manager at Funko Land. And you better believe it was a fun time.
man, Southland was so different now.
Who did you knock out of position to take that power?
I didn't knock anyone out.
Yeah.
I actually walked into the store.
Was there a tournament?
The manager, no, listen. I walked into the store. The manager saw me. I was looking at some stuff, and they actually had a Street Fighter display.
Oh
Right?
my.
Street Fighter for Super Nintendo or something was on display.
Yes.
No, this is after that. But they had a Street Fighter game on display. I was whooping someone. He's like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Hey, you like that?" And I mean, it was a kid or something. Manager's like, "Hey, you have a job here?" He's like, "Hey, I love this stuff." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I need a manager or assistant manager." I was like, "Let's start with assistant manager because I don't want to take your job."
Really?
That's exactly what I said.
He's embracing his inner bison.
That's exactly what I said. This is no lie. And I became manager at Funko Land at Southland Mall. First assistant manager, then I ranked up
Oh,
to
man.
manager at
that's
Funko
cool.
Land. So RIP Funko Land, and I had great times there.
That's
Awesome.
great.
All right, for my favorite electronics store, I'm actually going against the competitor of Circuit City. It was Good Guys.
Good guys!
The Good Guys. Don't buy from them, buy from us. The Good Guys.
Wait a
Buy a
minute.
good guy, though.
The good guy batteries were in what evil toy? Chucky?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
that's how I'll always remember good guys. I was like, wait a minute, some evil toy had good guy batteries in it. That's the truth right there.
So Good Guys was the competitor of Circuit City. I went to Good Guys a little bit more than Circuit City. They both were kind of the same thing. The one I went to mostly was in Stonestown Mall, and find out that Good Guys had a store. They opened up a store in Las Vegas called the Wow Store. So it was Tower Records and Good Guys mixed in, inventory mixed in, like a Uniqlo mixed in with a Big Camera in Japan, like that.
Oh, okay.
So when I read this, I was like, is that something special? Because the one in Stonestown, we had Good Guys in the same building. Good Guys, you take the escalator up, it's Tower Records. So it's just like, just go up and down.
That's cool.
It was awesome to go there because literally, yeah, you had the Tower Record, go get all your CDs, things like that, movies, and then go downstairs, get to your electronics. But around that time, it was when I started going to Good Guys, the Walkman just came out, and they had the sports Walkman. The yellow one where you can get it wet and all that stuff. Had some anti-resistant and all
Waterproof.
that stuff.
Yeah, the waterproof
And
Walkman.
then the last thing I remember before they shut down was they had the first HD TV, and I don't think anyone could buy it. I think it was like $9,000, and it was like 480i. And there was no channels, no DVDs, no video games to support it, so they would just play that same oceanic video over and over. But you would walk by it and be like,
I'm in the ocean.
yeah. So Good Guys was my jam.
Cool.
That's a good
Well, before I close out the topic, I just want to share also with the audience out there that another honorable mention to Tower Video and Tower Records. Thank you for mentioning that because even though they do not exist no longer here in the U.S., they were bought out by Japan.
Yes.
And they exist and they are flourishing prominently all over Japan, and the main stores are throughout Osaka, Aomori, Tokyo, and Hokkaido.
I got my Tower Record sweater.
And we actually went there on our last tour. We went there. That was great.
I didn't
So-
get to go in during Evo Japan 2020. We were running around like everywhere else. But
Going there surreal.
next trip, I gotta go to Tower Records.
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually want to see if I'm there somewhere because you could buy a couple martial art DVD compilations that I was in at South Coast and Tower Records in the early 2000s. And I'm not going to tell the full story, but I'm wondering if they're in Japan. That's all.
Could be.
There's a lot of hidden gems that they have there.
Kitty collector memorabilia.
We're gonna need to get your autograph on them. Well,
I
thank
was
you.
debating bringing it up, but yeah, I'm just gonna throw that
Another
out there.
episode.
Another
the hidden
episode.
gems memorabilia of Kitty Kaboom.
Watch,
Everyone
guys.
out there, submit your hidden gem memorabilia.
Watch, guys. I'm gonna parcel somebody, and they're gonna find it for me entire record. I'm gonna surprise her on one of the shows.
No,
I'm gonna open it up, and Cookie, you're gonna have all the spreadsheets to bring it up for the whole
Particular martial arts DVD today.
Well, thank you guys, and thank you guys for watching out there. This concludes this edition of the Strike First Gaming Show. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Bye bye.
Thank you.